It is a great day to be alive, and I am so thankful for God, Jesus Christ, who lives in us. In today's video titled Reviewing Dates, What Actually Happened? XRP, Should We Expect to Hear News? February the 15th. I will also be sharing a new XRP dream towards the end of this video. Before we get into the video, I'm not a financial advisor. Nothing that I'm sharing is financial advice. I'm simply sharing dreams, visions, and interpretations that I feel God has given me as it relates to crypto. Now, let's get into the video. And so what I've been doing is I've been going down, making a checklist based on these three groups of dates that I shared in this video. Yesterday, I put out a video, or the day before yesterday, I put out a video talking about the tariff news, small trade war, news pertaining to war as it relates to the U.S. being involved directly. And I shared those dates, the news that took place, what happened on that major focus date of February the 14th. And so here is that video. Here are the examples of the many things that we've heard as far as tariffs during that time frame. And then a quick look at those two dreams that I had back in June 2024, that over the course of a few months, God unveiled this message to me about tariffs, trade war, things that we're dealing with right now, as well as the possibility of the U.S. being involved in a physical war, and some of the news that was heard about that on February the 14th, which again was the focus date for that particular date range. Small trade war and February the 14th, that was the first video where I introduced the two questions that we see here as far as trade war, physical war, and all the involvement with the U.S. Again, you have to go back and watch that particular video, and then followed by the what actually happened video to get more details about that time frame. So here we are again looking at our checklist, and we're going to focus on February the 15th. And this has to do with XRP and XRP news. Should we expect to hear news about XRP on February 15th? Now, I noted here, and we're going to get into it a little bit later on, that I did not include the Hebrew calendar date as it relates to February 15th. And again, I will expound more on that later in the video. I actually did not put any Hebrew calendar dates for any of these three groups of dates. So before we get to February 15th, I want to take a look at February 13th and the 14th and what took place on those days as we build up to where we're going with this. So as most of you guys know, that Grayscale and Bitwise have moved on to the second phase, I guess you can call it, in getting this ETF, XRP ETF approved. I know that there are a few others that also filed for the XRP ETF, but on March the 14th, we see that there was another filing for this XRP ETF with another company, MEMX. And so what I took notice of from all of this during this time period moving up to February 15th was the price movement in XRP because of all of this. And now there was no major price movement. There was no big spikes or anything like that. But XRP did pull up somewhat on the 13th, I guess, after the news broke about Grayscale. And what I noticed was during this 3-day period, the 13th, 14th, and the 15th of February, I noticed that the price of XRP kind of hovered around that 277 range. So after all this ETF news, we see XRP hovering around that 277 range. Now, why did 277 stand out to me? Well, I shared the XRP and BTC decoupling dream a while back. This dream I had somewhere around before December the 7th. And in this dream, I knew something about BTC decoupling from XRP. And I saw XRP at the price of $277, and I saw Bitcoin price at $93,333. So after all this news came out about the ETF, and when I saw that the price of XRP kind of hovered around that 277 price range, that reminded me of this particular dream. So my first thought now, and I've had many thoughts as it relates to this dream, but this is just adding to the pile, is that will the approval of these XRP ETFs cause the price of XRP to decouple from BTC? Now, I have a few ideas as to what could cause this, such as, of course, definitely the case being over. But now that we hear more about these ETFs and them advancing to the next phase, it causes me to think that there may be other things that could cause this portion of this to happen as far as decoupling. And so we will now move on to February the 15th beyond this 277 price that I recognized on February 15th, our calendar time. And so now I want to share really quickly that in the beginning of this year, I did my first video for this year. I shared how I felt that God was leading me to use the Julian calendar and the Hebrew calendar, and the confirmation that he gave me around this Hebrew calendar. The Julian calendar I have been using to an extent for maybe the latter portion of last year. And so I just asked God to give me more confirmation about that. And these are 2 videos where I shared a lot more of this in detail. But for now, very quickly, I want to share this date of October 7th. So in the video that I did addressing the dates as it relates to trade war and tariffs and all of that, I shared a dream about Putin in that video. It was important because, again, it gives ties to this Hebrew calendar. Very quickly, the Hebrew calendar began on October 7th, many years ago. The attack of Hamas on Israel happened October 7th. Putin's birthday, October 7th. And the individual in this dream that I shared in this video, in that video, her birthday is October 7th. So not only did me learning about the Hebrew calendar and when it began, not only was that confirmation, but what was also confirmation was this dream about Putin and seeing, 2 people in my dream that share the same exact birthday. And if you want to hear more about that dream, you have to watch that video. Again, it was relevant to share that dream about Putin simply because of what Zelensky shared about what his intelligence was saying about Putin and his plans as far as NATO. So moving on into February the 15th, again, I shared in the beginning of this video that I did not put the Hebrew calendar date for any of the 3 groups of dates that I shared. But let's start with what I did share. So our calendar time, February 15th, I didn't see anything occur other than me recognizing what happened on the chart. But as far as news, as far as XRP, I didn't hear anything unless I'm just behind, I don't know. But looking at the Julian date for our February 15th, nothing. And then the Hebrew date, me just putting that in for our February 15th, nothing. So at this point, I prayed about it a little bit more. And what came to me was, what about February 15th, Hebrew calendar date? And so the Hebrew calendar date, February 15th, is equivalent to our February the 19th. So before I get into the news that happened February the 19th, our calendar date, which is equivalent to February the 15th, the Hebrew calendar, I want to rewind the tape back to February the 13th and February the 14th because this is very important. On these particular days, the 14th and the 13th and the 14th, I saw that news came out about the Binance case and about the Coinbase case, and them both being put on pause. And from my understanding, this was due to having the new SEC personnel coming in and the old going out. And so after seeing this, of course, the question that came in my mind, and I'm sure everyone else who saw this post, wondered, will this also happen for XRP? Will this case be put on pause? So now moving to February the 19th, our calendar time, which is the same as February 15th, using the Hebrew calendar, I saw articles that came out that basically talked about this. Would we see a pause with the Ripple lawsuit, just as we saw with Binance and Coinbase? Also on the 19th, I saw this post by this journalist that said that, I guess for those who are wondering why hasn't Ripple case gone before all of these, because Ripple has had this ongoing case with the SEC for the longest. She basically said that the SEC has been prioritizing cases with imminent court deadlines. And so the deadline for Coinbase and the deadline for Binance came before Ripple's, which is here. She noted that the deadline is April the 16th. And when I saw the date of April the 16th, it reminded me of the 3rd group of dates that I provided as it relates to the week of Passover. And April is not that far away, so if nothing transpires between now and April, like I said, it's not that far away, but at the same time, we're always praying that things with Ripple, as far as the case, comes to an end sooner than later. Another thing that she noted was that there are 4 options that the SEC could have chosen as it relates to the Binance case and SEC case, as well as Coinbase. And here are the four options. And out of all four, I saw that one the SEC could make was deciding not to proceed and to drop the case. Well, in Binance's case and in Coinbase's case, they didn't do that. They decided to do, I guess, an extension of the deadline. So again, when I saw on the 19th that these cases had been put on pause and all this information that came out about what the SEC could do as far as options, again, thinking about the Ripple case, what would happen next, this reminded me of another dream that I had, and I also shared this dream as well. And this was a dream that had to do with the chart that I saw that had XRP on one side and BTC on the other side. And on the XRP side, I understood something about the case, wasn't sure whether it was good or bad. And then on the BTC side, I saw this Dr. Strange swirling thing there with the date of October 17th in the middle of it. And then shortly after, I literally saw these three big red candles falling. In the bottom corner of the screen here, this is the video where I shared why October 17th and what does it mean. October 17th, I've shared, has been a date that I have been carrying with me, praying about, and seeing a lot of things transpire on this date as it relates to Israel, major news coming out of Israel. But it's always been connected to a market crash for me because that's what I saw in this particular dream. And what God has been helping me to understand is that October 17th is not a date that's specific to the date that the market would crash. However, there are keys to understanding what this October 17th date means, which is there could be major news coming out of Israel as it relates to this particular date. The colors of red and yellow. When I'm looking at deriving timelines, when I have dreams or things pertaining to these two colors. Also, again, it could be connected to a crash or a collapse of a market or an economy. And it can also be a leading indicator that may lead you to a previous market crash, something that happened in the past, or to a future market crash. So there could be leading indicators. So here we see the October 17th. We see the date. We also see the colors of yellow and red. And for me, I understand that that has to do with not only me seeing a crash in the dream or understanding a crash in the dream, but in this case, it's pointing to the fact that something's going to happen to BTC. Bitcoin is going to crash. Again, not to say it's going to crash on October 17th, but this is just confirmation on top of confirmation. So seeing October 17th on the BTC side, followed by the three red candles, to me indicates a crash for BTC at the news or something at the date of the news or somewhere around close around the time that the XRP case being closed, news comes out. I think that that will have an effect on BTC, and we will see some type of crash happen as a result. Also, on February the 19th, our calendar date, we saw news come out about another company that filed for an ETF for XRP coin shares. So these are all of the things as far as news that I see that will be centered around February the 15th, the Hebrew calendar date. As it relates to XRP, hear news about XRP and all these great things that could possibly transpire. And now I want to quickly share a dream that I had that I feel is about XRP. Let me know what you think. So this dream began with me being in the room with my sister, and I was standing in front of this old school computer monitor, and I was looking at the screen, and I saw that the background for this screen was black. And then I began to see this white line moving up very rapidly. And there were two prices that I know for a fact that I saw, and those two prices were $7. And then toward the end of me looking at this computer screen, I saw $75. And so this particular white line was moving extremely fast. I saw $7, and the next thing I know, I was seeing $75. And so there are two prices that I'm not sure which I saw. I don't know if I saw 70 cents or if I saw $70. But because I saw this one of the two in the very beginning when this line began to move, I'm more apt to believe that this was 70 cents versus $70. So the chart began to move. I looked up at my sister, and she was standing on the side of the monitor, leaning forward, looking at the screen with me. And I looked at her in disbelief, and I told her I've never seen anything like this before. And she just stood there and she just watched it. And then I turned around to look behind me, and I saw my phone, and I went over to take a look at it, and I saw two numbers. In green, I saw what looked to be 4,000, but I didn't see a comma. And then I saw 7, which looked to be 7,000, but I didn't see a comma. And so I understood that those were my gains. And then I said out loud, well, if this coin is in the billions, then that means that what I see on my phone, as far as this, what looked to be 4,000 and 7,000, that's millions. And so then I began to see like a slow pullback or rollback in the price of what I thought was gains in my dream. And so I began to say, okay, I need to go ahead and just sell. And so when I touched the screen, I saw that I was on Coinbase. And I concluded that I was on Coinbase because I saw this big blue C. And that was the end of the dream. Now, what makes me think that this was about XRP? My first thought was because of the colors that I saw as far as the screen, black and white. I immediately thought, what coin could this be? Black and white. Is that a clue that this is about XRP? Secondly, my sister in this dream, she's the only person in my family that I know that holds XRP. The third thing is that out of the coin colors of black and white, XRP is the only coin that I know that I have a handful of XRP on Coinbase. Now, because I feel like I saw 70 cents when this chart began to take off, I decided to go back and look around the time of November 13th and the 14th when we saw XRP move from the cent range up to the $1, $2, $3 range. And so it was around the 13th and the 14th. I know for a fact the 14th when it just really took off. But during that time, it seems to me, looking at the chart, that XRP was around that 70 cent range, 68, 70 cent range. And then we saw that big takeoff and XRP went up and beyond $1. So that helps me to kind of feel more confident in saying that I saw 70 cents versus $70. So in other words, I saw 70 cents and then I saw it move up quickly to $7 and then that moved up quickly to $75. Now, what I don't understand in this dream is why I spoke out loud and said, okay, if this coin is in the billions, then that means that what I'm looking on my phone is gains that should be in the millions. I don't know if this was referring to market cap. Is this something that I should understand about a market cap that God is trying to get me to understand? I don't know, but I know billions as far as being a price for XRP. I don't know about that, but the only thing that makes sense to me is if I was referring to market cap. Another thought that I had was me seeing the green 4,000 and or what looks to be 4,000 and 7,000, but they didn't have commas. I thought, well, what if this is reflecting the price of XRP, not gains, is what I thought of my dream. And again, I haven't come to a conclusion just yet about this last part of this dream as far as the billions part. And then the, what was I looking at? Was I looking at gains? I felt like I was looking at gains, but anyway, what if I was not looking at gains? And then what came to mind was a dream that I had about the 2 orders will be filled. This was a dream that I shared, the very first video that I did on YouTube about XRP. And in that dream, I saw a $5,000 was highlighted above my head, and I knew something about $5,000. It wasn't until months later that I concluded that this dream was about the price of XRP. And there were things centered around this price that God wanted me to understand. And you would have to go back and watch that video or fast forward to that portion in the video to where I talked about this because there were a lot of dreams, a lot of strings, things pulled together to where I realized this is what God was talking about. But what he was saying was, the point was XRP will be limited in trading and also limited in supply. XRP will explode to the hundreds and then to $5,000. Now, $5,000 is not where it's going to stop, but $5,000 will be an indicator of when we will see this limited trading and limited supply starting to take place. And so there were instructions on what we needed to do in order to prepare for this moment. Again, I only have a handful, just a couple of pieces of XRP on Coinbase. Everything else is stored away off any platform. And so because that $5,000 in my dream, I think it was highlighted green, was the same highlight of green that I saw in this dream when I saw 4,000. I'm wondering, was I looking at gains, although I understood it and thought it to be gains in my dream, or was I looking at the price of XRP and then backing up? How would that connect with market cap? So I'm still trying to figure that out. Still trying to see if what I was looking at was gains or if God was really showing me a price. And so I had this dream on February the 9th. And this was before all the news came out about the ETFs, as far as the SEC acknowledging Grayscale and also acknowledging Bitwise and all of these other companies putting in these ETFs, which was big. You know, it's a big move for crypto in general, especially when it comes down to XRP and these ETFs. And so I had this dream prior to that, which makes me want to believe even more that there's a possibility that as far as this SEC case goes with Ripple, that we may see XRP turn come up, just like Binance and Coinbase. And instead of being paused, what if it was dismissed and the case was dropped instead? And from my thoughts, I'm thinking, okay, if that was to happen, then we would see this explosion coming from where the price is now to $7, $75 and beyond. And so that is the connection that I'm making there. A final thing that I saw that has nothing to do with this February 15th date, I saw that someone shared that Trump posted 2 different articles as it relates to XRP on his True Social page. And I wanted to just share that. And so that is all that I have for this video. Until the next one, God bless.